So good evening everyone. My name is Maurya Hanspal, and in this session we're going to talk about some of the tools to analyze the market, or some of the tools to analyze the stock returns in particular. Like when you have the stock prices, like when you have the different periodic returns of the stock, then how to predict the future behavior of the stock, how to gauge the performance of that stock or those companies on the basis of their prices or returns. So like some of the tools we're going to use to analyze them today. In today's session, I'm going to talk about the holding period return. I'm going to talk about the standard deviations and the variance. And if time permits, I will also talk about the covariance, the correlations, and the coefficient of determination. And these are just few of the things I'm going to talk about in today's session. Whereas in subsequent sessions, we're going to also talk about the market beta, how to calculate the portfolio risk, the portfolio variance, and various other concepts as well, ranging from tracking error to various kinds of ratios, be it your Sharpe ratios, Sortino ratios, or tenor ratios. These ratios might sound new for a large number of people, but we're going to understand these ratios and make them too simple to understand and use them practically in your day-to-day stock market analysis. Okay. So let's take some basic examples. So I'll be taking a few of the basic examples with you. Okay. Yeah. We have got it back. Right. Yes. So let's see if we have certain like prices of the stock. And the prices of the stock, like it depends on the data, like the period of data on which we are doing our analysis. Okay. Like for example, if we have taken data for past 7 days, all these concepts which I would be talking about today can be applied to any time period, be it monthly, quarterly, yearly, 7 years, 10 years. Okay. So let's take example. Like for example, we have the stock prices of a particular stock. Okay. Like for example, the stock price is at a time it was 20, then it became 30, then it became 40, then it again went back to 20, then it again got back to 15. Okay. So like for example, if you are having certain returns in like certain stock prices in the market, okay, and you want to know that how much return this particular stock has given to you on the basis of price. That is, you want to know the capital appreciation from these stocks. Then how you gonna do it? Obviously, for first period we cannot find it because like there is nothing above 20. Okay, like let's begin with 30. So the formula goes on the beginning value or the ending value, basically the ending value on day two. This is day one, this is day two, this is day three, this is day four, this is day five. The ending value on day two you have is for 30 minus the beginning value, like which was 20, divided by 20. So when you do this for this period, okay, I'll just erase it and do it in a more clear way. Yeah. So for the second day, we are calculating that how much like return have we got as compared to the first day. So what did we do? 30 minus 20 divided by 20. Okay, so when we do it, like what we get is 10 divided by 20 into 100. It's a completely 50% return that you have got. Okay, so here we can name it as 50%. Then again 40. Then what we can do for the third day? 40 minus 30 divided by 30. Okay, it is 10 divided by 30 into 100. 1 by 3 into 100. It's a 33% kind of a thing. It has increased. Now it has come to 20. So obviously the percentage would also come in negative. 20 minus 40 divided by 40. So what did we have? We had minus 20 by 40, half, which is minus 50%. Okay. Like similarly, we can do for the other prices as well. So the formula stands in the basic way. Like what do you have? You have the final value minus the beginning value, जो value जो मतलब कि पहले की value थी, divided by the earlier value that you are having, into 100. So when you do it, like you get your answer. So here I can just rename the formula that if you people want to know the holding period return, Just a second. Yeah. Holding period return. Then how you gonna get it? It's nothing but your final value minus your beginning value divided by your beginning value. Okay. And in just a case, see, like this formula works only in the case of capital appreciation. ठीक है, मतलब कि stock price बढ़ रहा है या stock prices कम हो रहा है. If in the case you have the question that some dividend has also been paid, like in that particular period, then what you're gonna do? Just add dividend here as well in the formula and divide it whole. So that would be the final value minus the beginning value plus your dividend divided by the beginning value. So just in case your final value is 300, the beginning value had been 200, and the dividend that the company paid was for 50 rupees. Then how to calculate the holding period return? It would be 300 minus 200, 100, 100 plus 150, 50, 150. Then we're going to divide 150 divided by 200, 0.75 into 100. So that will nothing but 75%. Okay, so that we need to understand in this case. So that is nothing but your holding period return. Okay. I have just erased it. So this is the formula is just simple to the percentage change formula. Quite similar to the percentage change formula. Okay. So now just assume we have calculated the returns. Like we got certain returns. We got 20%. I will not write percentage in order to save some space. I'll just write here like this is the return that you have got from this stock. Okay, in this column. 20%. This was 30. Then it was 10. 30. Then 10. Okay. So just assume that these are some of the returns that you calculated from the prices. I've just taken some random numbers for the sake of simplicity. Okay. Now the question arises, what? You have to calculate the mean return. Okay. You have to calculate the mean return. How to calculate the mean return? That is, you have to calculate X bar. और जब return की बात कर रहे हैं, मतलब R bar. The mean you have to calculate of like all these returns or the average return that you want to calculate. कि मान लो कि अगर कभी स्टॉक ने 20% दिया, कभी स्टॉक ने 30% दिया, कभी 10% दिया, कभी 30% दिया, कभी 10% दिया, तो एवरेज रेट ऑफ रिटर्न स्टॉक का क्या आ रहा है? That is just the formula for average. That is the sum of observations upon the number of observations. Okay. So what we gonna do? 20 plus 30 plus 10 plus 30 plus 10. And how many observations we have? 5. 30 plus 20, 50, 50 plus 10, 60, 60 plus 30, 90 plus 10, 100. 100 divided by 5. So 20% is our average. मतलब एक 20% का रिटर्न हम बोल सकते हैं. मान लो अगर हमने 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 मतलब कि 5 दिन का रिटर्न देखा है, तो 5 दिन में ऑन एन एवरेज बोल सकते हैं कि 20% का रिटर्न रहा है. So like if someone is asking you कि इस पर्टिकुलर टाइम पीरियड में 7 डेज में, 10 ईयर्स में, 1 ईयर में एवरेज रेट ऑफ रिटर्न कितना रहा है, मतलब इस पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक का, then for that purpose you can take the average of all the returns and get the answer. Okay, तो 20 हमारा आ गया एवरेज एंड हमको लाइक मीन रिटर्न निकालना आ गया. ठीक है, 20 आ गया एवरेज, तो यहाँ लिख देते हैं आर बार इज नथिंग बट 20. Okay, now if someone asks you calculate the risk of this stock, इस स्टॉक में कितना रिस्क है. Okay, now if someone says you calculate the risk of this stock or the risk of these returns, the measure of risk is as taught in the previous sessions on capital structure, standard deviation. Higher the standard deviation, higher the risk. जितना ज्यादा standard deviation का amount होगा उतना ज्यादा होगा risk. Okay. So how you calculate standard deviation? Standard deviation का formula you have as sigma x minus x bar. This is sigma means the summation divided by n minus 1. N is the number of observations. And variance क्या होता है? Variance is the square of standard deviation. तो यहाँ पे बस square आ जाएगा. And अगर square नहीं है तो it is the standard deviation. Okay. Now our purpose is to calculate the standard deviation or variance या जो भी आ जाए, because they both mean the same thing. Both are a measure of risk. Higher the standard deviation or higher the variance, it means the stock is more risky. Lower the standard deviation or lower the variance, it means the stock is less risky. So that we need to understand. A formula बोल रहा है x minus x bar. Okay, yeah, we can further say it as r minus r bar in this case. R is the return and r bar is the average return, right? So it means that what do we want? X minus x bar. 20 minus 20, 30 minus 20, 10 minus 20, 30 minus 20, 10 minus 20. Okay, so all these returns that you're gonna get. 0, 10. Now, if we want to take the square of it, okay, so what can we do? 100. Okay, सबका like 100 ही आने वाला है square, right? And we add it, it comes out to be like 400. Divided by like how many observations? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 minus 1. That is 400 divided by 4. Like what do you get? 100. So 100 is your variance because यहाँ पे you took the square of everything. Okay. And why didn't we take it here? क्योंकि यहाँ पे तुम्हारा 10 है और minus 10 है. Then again 10 है and minus 10 है. Like this would come out to be 0 only. Right? तुम्हारा 0 ही आना है. तो 0 divided by 4 तुम कर नहीं सकते हो. तो अगर स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन निकालना है तो वेरिएंस पहले निकालनी पड़ेगी. एंड वेरिएंस निकालना है, यू हैव टू स्क्वायर दी स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशंस. 100 100 100 100 आ जाएगा 400 by 400. And 100 is your variance, not your standard deviation. And if you want to calculate your standard deviation, that is the root of 100. That will come out to be 10. 10 is your standard deviation and your variance is 100. तो मतलब कि जितनी ज्यादा स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन होती है या जितना ज्यादा वेरिएंस होता है उतना like risky the stock is, and that you need to understand. And standard deviation is a measure of risk. ठीक है. So this is one thing we understood कि स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन कैसे निकालते हैं. अगर तुमको कोई बोले कि रिस्क निकालो इस स्टॉक का, तो रिस्क इज नथिंग बट योर स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन और द वेरिएंस. ठीक है. अब you have, let's understand the difference between two things. Covariance, इसकी हम calculations हम next class में कर लेंगे, but at least let's understand the difference between the two, covariance and correlation. Okay, these two are the measures of association, we can say. Okay, like when we talked about mean was a measure of central tendency, right? When we talked about standard deviation and variance, those was a measure of dispersion. Okay, but when we talk about the measures of association, we have the covariance and correlation. So what is the covariance and correlation? Covariance tells you the direction of the movement between two variables, two components or two stocks. मतलब अगर एक स्टॉक बढ़ रहा है तो दूसरा बढ़ रहा है या कम हो रहा है. ठीक है. For example, if stock A is rising and stock B is also rising, it means they have positive covariance. If stock A is falling, stock B is falling, it again means they have positive covariance because they're moving in the same direction. But अगर stock A बढ़ रहा है and stock B गिर रहा है, it means they have negative covariance. That we need to understand. Okay? तो अगर covariance positive है, it means they're moving in the same direction. If the covariance is negative, it means they're moving in the opposite direction, and that we need to understand. सो कोवेरियंस इज जस्ट टेलिंग यू द डायरेक्शन कि सेम डायरेक्शन में जा रहे हैं या नहीं। बस ये बोल रहा है कि ए बढ़ रहा है तो बी बढ़ रहा है, ए गिर रहा है तो बी गिर रहा है, ए बढ़ रहा है तो बी गिर रहा है, बट इट इज नॉट टेलिंग यू ए कितने से बढ़ रहा है, और अगर ए जितने से बढ़ रहा है तो उसके कंपैरिजन में बी कितने से बढ़ रहा है। ठीक है, सो वी कैन एज्यूम और वी कैन से, मतलब कि नॉट एज्यूम, इन कोवेरियंस यू आर जस्ट गेटिंग टू नो द डायरेक्शन एंड नॉट द मैग्नीट्यूड। बस ये पता चल रहा है ए बढ़ रहा है, बी बढ़ रहा है, सी बढ़ रहा है, ठीक है, बट ये नहीं पता चल रहा कितने से बढ़ रहा है। बट इफ यू वांट टू नो द मैग्नीट्यूड along with the concept of direction, go to correlation. Correlation will tell you both the direction as well as the magnitude. इसमें दोनों चीजें होंगी, ठीक है। तो इसमें क्या लिखा होगा, अगर ए बढ़ रहा है एंड बी भी साथ में बढ़ रहा है तो इट्स अ पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन। ए बढ़ रहा है और बी गिर रहा है, इट्स अ नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन दैट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड। And the value of correlation, it tends to be between -1 to 1. -1 to 1 के बीच की ही रहेगी वैल्यू, इसके अलावा लाइक कोई और वैल्यू नहीं रहेगी। If the correlation is having 1, वैल्यू आ रही है 1, it means it is perfectly correlated. A बढ़ रहा है तो B भी बढ़ेगा by same. अगर -1 है, it is perfectly negative correlated. A बढ़ेगा तो B लाइक गिरेगा ही गिरेगा। ओके, अगर 0 है, it means there is no correlation. ए अगर बढ़ा तो बी गिर भी सकता है या फिर उठ भी सकता है, तो ऐसा कोई रिलेशन नहीं है। बट व्हेन यू गाइस कंस्ट्रक्ट योर पोर्टफोलियो, वी ऑलवेज टेक सिक्योरिटीज व्हिच हैव एटलीस्ट अ परफेक्टली नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन या एटलीस्ट नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन। परफेक्टली नेगेटिव तो मिलेंगे नहीं, बट एक नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन होगा तो ठीक रहेगा। अगर एक इंडस्ट्री बढ़ भी रही है, अगर एक इंडस्ट्री गिर भी रही है, तो दूसरी इंडस्ट्री एटलीस्ट बढ़ रही होगी, and your portfolio will tend to balance. A simple example we can take, if anyone before this COVID-19 pandemic had only invested in the industry of hospitalities, hotels, travel and tourism, and in COVID the market fell, okay, because no one was traveling and no one was going to like for travel, tourism and hotels and all. So if someone would have only the stocks of hotel industry, uska pura portfolio ka value like would have turned it like into negative or zero. बट अगर उसने आईटी के स्टॉक्स भी अपने साथ में डाले होते, फार्मा के स्टॉक्स भी डाले होते, सो हिज पोर्टफोलियो वुड हैव मैनेज्ड। अगर उसके होटल इंडस्ट्री या हॉस्पिटैलिटी इंडस्ट्री के स्टॉक्स गिर भी रहे हैं, तो आईटी एंड फार्मा वुड हैव बैलेंस्ड इट आउट, राइट? सो दैट इज वन थिंग वी नीड टू टेक इनटू कंसिडरेशन फॉर। दैट इज व्हाई हैव सिक्योरिटीज व्हिच आर नेगेटिवली कोरिलेटेड। अगर परफेक्टली अगर नेगेटिव नहीं मिल रही तो हैव नेगेटिव कोरिलेटेड। सो दैट इज वन थिंग वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. And in the next session, we're going to talk about on some of the